Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I am so glad that you can keep our appointment. Tonight's guest has been here before. Yeah, that's me. And we're going to talk about her life as a child and what led her to be the adult superwoman that she is. I'm talking about Chung Diana Bey. We're calling this segment From Bullied Child to Fearless Truth Warrior. I want you to listen to our candid, no holds barred conversation, and we're going to hit a variety of topics. But just a little bit about Sister Chung. Sister Chung Diana Bey is a Moroccan national, wife, mother, grandmother, healer, advisor, life coach, educator, and entrepreneur. And to make it short and sweet, her motto is, I'm so blunt, you can smoke my truth. I love her candor. I love her honesty. And some of you will too. Some of you won't. But hey, nobody loves everybody. So with that, I want to present to some and introduce to others none other than Chung Diana Bey. Hey, sis. Let me unmute you. I think you're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Peace, sis. How you be?
How you doing? Listen, the music is still playing. So
Oh,
we
yes,
can
we rocking it out.
Listen, getting you sunshine and all that stuff. And
yes, it was hot today. Gotta be out the sunshine where it be at. Sunshine and light.
Rain. It's raining where I am, and it's flooding.
Well, let me send some sunshine over there to y'all right quick.
We receive it, we. Okay, let's get this on a little bit.
How you be?
Oh, come on into this conversation. I am so happy to see you, my sister, and you who are tuning in. I want you to hit that like, share, let them know we're on. I haven't been on for a minute. Sister Chung, I've been kind of wrapped up and involved in, building that other business that I have and trying to, schedule folks. I got some great folks like yourself coming up in the coming weeks, but I've been kind of busy and haven't been on Tuesdays regularly. So I am so happy to have you come on the show and let's have this conversation. It's always good to have a chat. And the folks in the audience can be like a fly on the wall and, kind of listen to what's going on. And of course they can make comments and so forth. And I hope these are respectable comments, but we always know that there's always some folk that, don't see things the same way. But this tonight, from Bullied Child to Fearless Truth Warrior, it is hard for me to believe that you were ever bullied, that you ever even allowed yourself to be bullied. So with that, let's go back to your childhood. Because those that know you now, who follow you on Facebook, IG, and sorry about that, y'all. On IG and all of your platforms know that, as my grandmama used to say, you don't take no tea for the fever. And and the very, 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 very first time that I encountered you, it was because I think I ran across you on Facebook a few years back, and you were doing a live. You were doing these wee hour of the morning lives. I called it wee. Maybe it was late. Maybe it was early your time, and maybe it was wee in the hours of the morning here. But you would be, giving your truth and talking about nationality and birthright and some other things, and you were raw. And I was, wow. So I don't know, but one time, me. and the comment section, and we know what happened after that. But let's go back you to your childhood. You were bullied. And where did you grow up? Where were you raised?
I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland,
Okay.
and
That
that's where I
Banneker
grew up.
City, what they call it, or is that decent? But what is Baltimore's nickname?
Well, back at home, we called the home of Chesapeake other Chesapeake crabs. So
Oh, well,
you know,
that's the commercial name, but I know they probably for Baltimore. My mother was
oh,
actually
the
born.
wire. You mean the wire?
Yeah, yeah. My mom was born in Baltimore, at Baltimore, but wasn't she didn't live there, but that's where she was born at the hospital there in Baltimore. But yeah, some folks, some rough folks, tough folks have come out of Baltimore. So you were born and raised in Baltimore, and so how was your childhood? I mean, what is it that caused you to be put in a position of being bullied?
Well, one, I'm biracial, so me having the name of Chung, eventually later on, I had got the name, my mom had me use one of my middle names, which is Diana, to use Diana because Chung was a name that was given me by my grandfather. And so me using that name in school, I got bullied with that name, having long hair. I had more long hair than most. So I was called Diana Ross or Dirty Diana or something bullying. It was just always something. And I was real skinny.
Mhm.
And, of course, I'm not that skinny now, but I was real skinny then. So that, I was olive oil. I was all kind of things. I wore glasses in fourth grade. And I didn't really learn how to fight until about third grade or so. But it was a lot of mean children that was out there, back in those days. It was hard then, it was just being bullied. And I was quiet. So, that's why I have a voice now because, and I take up for those who can't speak up for themselves because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to, not have a voice or want to have a voice, but you're too scared because you got a bunch of girls that are coming at you. But I remember even those days, my mom would say, if you get beat up, I'm gonna beat you up when you come home, that kind of thing. And it got to the point to where she didn't understand really what I was going through in that time because the era of time that she grew up in was different than the era of time that I grew up in. So it was different. But I tried to explain to her. And then it was one day, my uncle decided to go with me to school because a young girl named Yolanda decided she wanted to, beat me up. So I got my uncle and he showed me how to fight. And ever since then, I've been gaining a voice for myself. But in middle school, it got a little rough. Um, like I said, I got, as I'm growing up and becoming a young teen, it was really rough growing up because it seemed like it was a lot of jealousy. I didn't wear the fake hair like most children did. I had my own long hair. So I got, bullied from different people and me being, like I said, being biracial, my mom being, Manchurian, which people will call nowadays Chinese, but Chinese uh, is the colonized version of the Manchurians. So
Mhm.
we call ourselves Manchurians. That is the original of our people. That goes all back to our dark skinned people, our dark olive people. So the Manchurians. But, back in those days, they didn't get it. And see, now I get it. But back in those days, they didn't get it. So I was Cheech and Chong, Tiger Chung Lee. I've heard it all. So
Right,
I
right,
had to
right.
grow. I had to grow into my name and learn to love it. It wasn't until about maybe 15 years ago when I really came in to learn really love my name again, and just took ownership of it. And now, call me Chung, call me Chung over Diana. But you will hear people call me Diana because they used to work with me,
Yeah.
or they went to school with me from back in school days. So those people still follow me on social media, and we still rock each other real hard. We still hang tough after 30, 40 plus years, which is beautiful. So yeah.
I know there's some noise because somebody's asking what to do. It's like a not. I don't know whether you're touching something or
Oh, I don't
what.
know.
I don't
Can
know.
you
I
hear
don't
yourself?
think it's a mine. I don't hear it now, but it's
Oh,
like a
okay.
small knocking in the background. Yeah, that's what
Okay, can you
somebody.
hear it
I can
still?
hear it. No, we don't hear it right now. So whatever
Oh,
was
okay.
happening, yeah,
Okay, well, let me get that ready for y'all. Fix it for you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Because people will be more focused on the noise than and won't hear what you're saying.
Right.
And and it's a lot of children, unfortunately. a myriad of reasons have actually gone through bullying, and some of it more severe than others.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, could kind of hear a voice in the background now, but anyway, a lot of children have, and but also we have it's unfortunate that some folks don't grow out of that. you know I call it the mean girl syndrome. You know what I mean? A lot of times, people, I know people even to this day who kind of like have like sort of they travel in packs. They follow the leader. They have no personal leadership of their own, and they got maybe one main character in the group that sort of is the brains for everybody. And so, to me, it's sad, but it also speaks, I think, sometimes to how we're raising our children in these days, more so even than when, like I said, when I was growing up, which was even some further back than you, further back than you. So, but gosh, so you learned to fight in the third grade and been fighting ever since then, so to speak, if you will.
Basically, I just learned to use that for, when I was little, I used my hands because everyone was, always picking on me. I didn't have a dad when I grew up. My mom was a single mom. I grew up with her, and so she was a hardworking mom. She was a Marine, so, and she was a drill sergeant. So she was, a mighty tiny. She was short, and she was, in my day, she was mean. I get it now, but in my day, she was mean to me. Not mean to me, but she was just very tough, very protective. She's a Leo, so I get the line is the protectiveness. So she was very protective about me, and she worked daggone near 80 hours a week. So she was a single mom trying to make it. And because I didn't grow up with my dad, and I was around people where we lived near an army base where people had moms and dads, and it was a little different. Me trying to fit in with that crowd and things like that, and trying to realize how different really I was. And later on, I came to find my dad, and I actually ended up going through Maury Povich to find him. People are still kind of shocked to this day that I actually did that, but I was desperate. I was 26 when I found him. But Maury Povich helped me find my daddy. If it wasn't for Maury, I don't know where I'd be. And I'm
So,
out here.
I mean, I did have an occasion. I want to say within the last 6 years ago, I think I went up to one of the shows
Mm,
in Connecticut, and was there, in the studio, and kind of saw how things, kind of operate and how they kind of direct you. But what you're saying though is, at the end of the day, it was real for you. It worked. It
mm.
got you connected to your biological father, who, to this day, you're still very much connected. Am I correct?
Yes, I actually take care of him.
Okay, okay.
Now he's 81 years old. He needs assistance, getting around and things like that now. So I'm actually his home caregiver at this point.
Okay,
So it was a
okay.
beautiful thing how it all worked out. Allah's always the greatest. Sometimes we never really know what the plan's going to be later on, but I'm grateful. I've known him for 21 years now. 21 years in 2003 when I came out here to California, and it was a one-way ticket. I came here and I stayed.
Wow,
So
wow.
yeah, with four
So,
children.
oh my, yeah. So that's a leap of faith, if you will. And
Yes, it was.
yeah. So for you, growing up, um, was there always, like, I'm assuming there was always maybe a desire to connect, with your biological father. Um, I had something pop up on my screen that I can't get down. Oh, there it goes. With your biological father. Um, did I didn't have that same experience, even though I didn't grow up with my father. My father was accessible. I just didn't, live with him. So, with when you don't have both parents in your life, and you don't even know who at that point the missing parent is, what kind of emotional or psychological issues does I guess, would a child go, or a young person go through, not knowing their complete roots, to the extent of, like, at least the first, at the first layer, if you will, the parents.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna go through, being that I was the only child for 20 years, that was another thing too. So, by my mom working a lot, I was a latchkey kid, as they called it back in the day. So I learned how to do a lot of things that most children nowadays do not do. Cooking 4-course meals, letting myself at home, and my mom couldn't afford daycare, so I had to, don't tell nobody that you're home, that you're home by yourself type of thing. And she had to give me the rundown. Don't let nobody in the house. And this is what I want you to do. Do your homework, do your chores. So I had things I had to do even at 6 years old, growing up, waiting for her to come home. And like I said, you start feeling left out because you don't have a dad there. But then after a while, you get used to it, 'cause it's like you don't really know what a dad supposed to do. But you always start feeling like there's something missing. And that's really always what I felt like. I would look at my mom and I see, how the characteristics and the traits that we have of each other. But then as I got older and I started to really mature, I was really wondering, she and I would have conversations, because she and I are like two sisters. We would just have conversations, and she has like a widow's peak and I don't. And so I would say, okay, well, where did I get that from? Or my ears are not her ears, I noticed. And I mentioned that to her one time. She said, oh, you got your daddy's ears. But I was like, okay, well, what does he look like? you know. And so she had made one comment to me, and she and I still laugh about it to this day. She said to me, she says, because he broke my heart, I'm never going to show you who your dad is, but I'll give you his name, I'll give you his birthday, and his last known address. That's all she gave me. That's all I had to work with. So that's all that I gave Maury Povich, was his name, his birthday, and his last known address. And Maury found him for me. So that's, during that time, though, when I was 16, I had attempted to find him, and it wasn't through Maury, but it was through, Ask. It was back in the day, it was ask.com. And so I was just looking and trying to find out, trying to find out, because I knew his name and I knew that I was named after him. So I was looking on there and I came up with nothing, came to a brick wall. So I was like, well, I gave up for that while, took about 10 years off, and then I tried it again because it was so needed in that time that I was going through. I was dealing with a very bad, toxic marriage. So I was needing to get out. And
Mhm.
so I just started looking for, I need to find my dad. I need to figure out, who I am, who I be. I feel emptiness. And it's an emptiness that you're going to continue to feel until that void is filled. So
Of
yeah.
course, of course. Now, you talk, and because we're talking about a lot of different things. So you mentioned that you were in a toxic marriage, toxic marriage, and I think as we've spoken in the past that you married young, um, right? And you were when you and I also know that you had a very devastating car accident. So was the accident prior to you finding your father, or connecting with your father?
Yes, the accident happened in 97. I found my dad in 2003.
Okay,
So it's much
so
prior.
by the time and I'm going to take you back there because I think that accident and what happened to you kind of also developed you into who you are today. There's a lot of times, people, um, I have a friend who's my assistant who works with me during 4 days a week, and her husband and she ride motorcycle. Well, she rides with him, and I believe Saturday he was in a very devastating motorcycle accident. But we're grateful that he will recover. He's really things are broken and so forth, but it could have been
Yeah.
worse, particularly on a motorcycle. But um, want you to, if you don't mind, share what happened to you because I think after what happened to you happened, you gained some knowledge of some more abilities and so forth that you had. So can you share what happened and how we got to the Chung we have today? Because I think that has
Oh, sure.
basis.
Yeah,
Yes.
so on September 16th, 1997, when my life changed totally. Um, I was on my way to work, and I was around 5:43 in the morning. I was hit by a drunk driver in West Baltimore, and she was with an 88 Cutlass. She hit me full metal. I was in a 93 um, uh, Buick Century. That's what it was. It was Buick Century, and she hit us head on. My ex-husband, now ex-husband, he was driving the car, and I was in the passenger seat. And I remember bending down because I wore contacts at the time. So I remember bending down to get one of my contacts because it had fell. And as I had leaned forward, that's when the collision happened. So when the collision happened, I just went all the way forward. The seat in the Buick Century had bolted up, and I went through the windshield. He didn't go through the windshield. I did. And so if anyone who knows anything about cars, the windshield has three levels of glass. So you go through three levels of glass when you go through a windshield, which is pretty traumatic, especially for the head. So a lot of glass was in my body. I had to be flown to shock trauma over there in Baltimore. And during that time, I had ruptured my spleen, so my spleen had to be taken out, and I had to have my stomach scraped during the time that had happened. Me being flown, and me going through them having to do surgery, they had lost to me for 22 minutes. Now, normally, and people, tend to look at you like, really? Yeah, really. And sometimes, most of the times, they call death after 7 minutes, because that's usually when the death call is, after 7 minutes, when they can't get a pulse or anything like that, and you've redlined for that long. Well, there were other doctors that came in. So even though I had redlined, there were other doctors that
You
came in.
either got flatlined, right?
Right, because I had flatlined,
Yeah.
and I had lost apparently that much blood from the head and the trauma from going through the windshield, and then the impact and my spleen rupturing and everything going on inside of me, because that was literally 5 days after my 21st birthday. On 9/11/97, I turned 21, and it was 5 days after my 21st birthday is when that accident had happened. So, and there's a story behind that one too. So, as all that had happened, uh, I could literally now, people may argue and they may feel how they may feel about it, but your spirit does leave your body when you die. It's a different, your spirit will leave the flesh. So when my spirit left the flesh, I literally was able to see them working on me. So I saw them working on me. I saw more doctors coming in to work on me. I saw all that. I literally was just staring and just watching, and it's really, it's interesting story to tell, because you see everything that's going on, and when you die, you are everywhere literally all at once. You're everywhere all at once, because there is no such thing as time. So you're literally, you can go and literally see how old you're going to be. You can see yourself as a baby. Everything is all at once. It's literally all at once. But in that moment, when you're standing right there and you're looking at your own body, and you're looking at people trying to work at you to get you to come back alive, it's interesting. But this is why I try to explain people, literally, when you die and then you come back like that, you get superpowers, because you start to learn things about the spiritual realm you didn't know unless you did leave this earth,
Mhm.
unless you left the physical body. I call it the vessel, the body, the vessel.
Right.
Because when you leave the physical body and you're in the spiritual realm, it's so many things that are in the spiritual realm that's of bliss. It's very happy there. It's a very, very peaceful realm to be in. It's where happiness and where love really exists. You don't feel emotions. And at the young age of 21, I didn't really know how to explain to people that emotions don't exist. But I saw all that going on. I saw them working really extra hard to get me to come back alive, and literally 22 minutes. So when I seen that happen, I was like, just looking. And once they brought me back alive, it's like a force. Like, you feel, it's like somebody trying to wake you up. That's the best way to describe it. It's like someone's like shaking you, saying, "You there? Hello, hello, chunk, chunk, chunk." And then you just like, you're laying there and you wake up. But I was there, and then it's like your spirit comes back into your body, that's when you're starting to feel the pain, because you don't feel any of that when you leave. You don't feel sorrow. You don't feel sad. You're really just looking at yourself. You don't feel any of those things. And it's really interesting, because I really try to explain to people, your physical body is a vessel. You don't want to leave it too long. When it's gone too long in the spiritual realm, there's a different time element. Because like I said, there's no such thing as time. So when you're talking about the spiritual realm, the time is much faster. It's different, it's faster. It seems like ages had went by. Like, I was gone for decades. But I really was only gone for 22 minutes. But that 22 minutes in a different realm is years, decades. All this time is going by. Time. And I always say time because there's no such thing as time. Even the prophet told us that, but there's no such thing as time. So you really understand what that is. And it's kind of hard that when you come back into this realm and you're trying to explain it, to people, it's easier now than it was, 26 years ago, almost 27 years ago. It's easier now to explain it than it was then because people think that you were crazy then. They thought I was nuts. And I kept trying to explain to them that's not what it's like in the spiritual realm. Like it's different when you pass over. It's different. And they kept saying different now. I kept saying it's happier, it's better. You don't have no pain. Once you come back and you reconnect to the physical body, then you've got pain and you start feeling emotions and all the things that we feel as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So it was.
I mean, it wasn't, but just at that point right there, do you think we are deliberately indoctrinated to have a fear of something that for many who have had the same type of experience that my sister, who told who had this experience of transitioning and coming back, do you think there's a deliberate over the centuries to indoctrinate us into by fear of something that some folks say that's when you're really living over here, and that when we come into this realm, that's the death realm, that's the descent, that's hell, that's some things. What do you think of having had that experience about how we deal with death, transition, sickness, aging, those kinds of things that eventually we know may take us out of this dimension, this realm?
We definitely are indoctrinated at birth. Even the Bible says that we mourn the birth and we praise the death, basically. Not necessarily in those words, but it does say that we are supposed to, celebrate the death and when we mourn the birth, because when you come into birth, that's basically when we're, as the prophet even say, you're born into sin, you're born into ignorance, we're born into colonization, we're born into a lot of things that we're going to experience that that you wouldn't experience in the spiritual realm. In the spiritual realm, there's no death. It's forever. It's infinite. In the spiritual realm, there's no sorrow. There's no emotion there. So even since the whole death happened to me, I look at death differently than most people do. I don't look at it as a sad thing. I don't even wear, if I have to go to the funeral, I wouldn't even wear black. I would wear white or like a pastel color for like the celebration of the homegoing, because that's really where bliss is at. It's in the spiritual realm. It's not in the physical realm, and it's so many things that you just learn that we've been taught also wrong, about death and how we even perceive it. Once you actually already die and then you come back, you don't fear death like most people do, because you really already know what's there. You don't fear it. Those who do fear it, it's kind of hard to really, and me personally, I don't try to change anyone's views on it, because in the physical realm, you have the right to feel. You have the right to feel how you want to feel. And praise Allah, my mom is still here, my dad is still here. So I don't know what it's like to not have a mom or dad here. So, I have compassion for those who don't have their parent here. You have to give people time and give them that space to grieve and feel how they want to feel, and not, because I feel like once, even though I experience it and I know what it feels like, to not really put that on someone else, because it kind of comes off of like passing judgment. And like I said, everyone's allowed to feel how they want to feel, and some people may not receive that. So just because myself may know that, may not be it's time for me to explain it to another one that is feeling that, explain, because they may not be ready to receive that. So I let them feel how they want to feel, and I just embrace them with love, so that they can be able to get past that moment of what they're feeling,
Right.
darkness or whatever they're feeling.
Yeah, my sister told me, and I don't know whether the experience of coming back in the body, I'm just going to fast forward. She said to me, she was coming through what she described as various realms with various sounds, like she was spiraling back down. And when she ended up back in her body, she said, sis, it was like, she said, like putting a tomato on the whole of a small of the whole small opening, say, of a ketchup bottle, and squishing it in. She said she felt
Mhm.
like she was there was not enough space in her body anymore for what came back into the body. Like once she was out, and she would say to me, I could leave my body at any time now. And she wasn't necessarily saying I'm gonna die, but she felt like, she knew how to release herself from this. And so she went through that. She also went through being, I guess, highly, I want to call it magnetized or she shorted out. She never wore a watch after that. She would short out batteries in the car. Anything she touched that had any type of electronic, she had like this surge of of energy that was surging through her, that she always just knew what time it was, because she wouldn't wear a watch. But when she had her aneurysm, which was years later,
Mhm.
and would lay in a coma for months, she's right to this day, this has been almost 7 years. Yeah, she's in a semi, she's aware, she sees you, she knows who we are. She smiles, or she looks and follows you. I could not understand why, knowing what it felt like not to be in the body, she would choose to stay in a state and to be in a nursing home. But again, I had to think, but that may have been a part of the choice she made, the pre-planning. You know what I mean? Because she was like a big boss businesswoman. She worked for Hughes Aircraft out in El Segundo, and she had a degree in nuclear. After that, whatever she did that was electronic. Then she went and got another degree in nuclear medicine, and then it ended up working as like a FEMA worker for the state. So she had all of these accomplishments, and I was like, well, maybe she just wanted to chill and think, and not have to make explanations. But I guess I couldn't understand. It was like, I didn't want her to die, but if I died before, rather than stay in a broken body, I'd probably say, well, I'm just gonna go on back. So do you ever feel? I'm saying that to say, do you ever feel like you said, you're describing the experience, so of course you're saying it was bliss, but why would someone maybe make a choice to knowing that they were going to be in a battered body, a broken body? They already knew. See, this is her second time, wasn't the first time. The second time, the first time she was murdered. The second time she had an aneurysm, and it was many, many years later. So I just said to myself, knowing what it feels like to be going, why would I don't know whether I would choose to stay like that.
Yeah, they now one thing I can relate to her on that you mentioned was the watch. I can't wear digital watches, any of that at all. It just goes berserk. I don't wear those Apple Watch things. I can't wear any of that. I'll never own one of those. I've never owned any one of those. Um, I usually like to wear those little Swiss watches, because those are some of the best ones.
The regular
It
ones
has
with
to be expensive, otherwise my body won't even receive it. It's now when I had my accident, when they brought me back because of the trauma that I had went through, I went into a coma for 4.5 months, and I had to learn how to walk and talk all over again. So I had lost those abilities to do, just the normal things in life: brush your hair, wash your butt, that type of thing. Even speak. It was like, what was it, mush mouth? I couldn't. I could understand what you were saying, but I couldn't get it back and relay it back to you. Like I couldn't answer you back. So I had to go through medical rehab. I had to go through speech therapy. I had to go through psychotherapy because of what I kept explaining to them that I saw. And so they had me in therapy for that, because they kept saying, how is it possible that you saw all this? Because I literally saw, like I said, I saw them working on me. So I was explaining to them what they were doing, literally step by step, what they were doing, how they called down more doctors, and what they did. So my mother, she speaks 12 different languages, and so I understand about 9 of them. I can't speak them anymore unless I put myself back into a class to learn them all over again, but I can interpret most of it. Hebrew, French, because I grew up learning French. She speaks that, Mandarin, and Spanish. I learned, a lot of Spanish. Some of that I had to relearn all over again. So I can interpret it. If I hear someone speak it, I know what they're saying, especially if I go to the nail shop. There's different dialects, but they're pretty much all the same. So I listen to that, and that's pretty funny when I actually speak back in English. If I'm on the elevator and I can, I hear them saying something, you can tell when people talk about you. And I always tell people at the nail shop, they talk about you a lot. They
I
talk about
think
you.
so. Yeah, it's
They
kind
talk
of
about you a
funny.
lot.
Like they talk about your feet, what your
Everything.
toes.
Yes, and they'll talk about you, and you won't even know they're doing it because they're slick with it. Because they can be doing this, and it sounds like they may be having a conversation about whatever else while they're doing what they're doing. No, they're talking about you. They're just real slick with doing it, and they perfected on how to do that. And I just watched them. And I just was like, good thing I ain't got no dog feet because they would definitely be talking about me. I was like, I'm glad my feet is cute because. And then, like, if I can tell they're talking about me, I may chuckle a little bit, and then they look at me like, "Did she understand what I said?" And I look at them, and I try not to say anything because I don't want to do anything to me, so I don't say anything. But yes, I can understand what they say. I can interpret. So at one point, I wanted to be an interpreter because I'm really good at interpreting certain languages, but uh, I turned out I didn't want to do that. So I picked up American Sign Language, and I learned how to do sign language since I have two nieces that are deaf.
Mhm.
I picked it up later on, and now I do I know sign language as well, and trying to pick up Japanese and Korean now. That's my next ones to pick up, as well as Arabic. So that's definitely what I want to do. Speak Arabic and learn that because my cousin speaks it so fluently, and I'm like, I love the way it sounds. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I need to learn Arabic. But yeah, the
So,
languages you do get superpowers though when you come back, and you look at things so differently because you know what it is in a different realm. Like you've been in different dimensions, so you know.
it's funny how things are listening. I must have pushed something on my phone, and it's now typing what we're saying.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's the AI.
AI,
It's the
AI,
AI.
AI
Ooh.
is literally working. I guess I hadn't pushed on it voice input. I didn't know that. And so we're talking, and say, Maya, it's funny how things are listening. I must have pushed something on my phone, and it's now typing.
Ooh.
It's something. Go wait, listening. Let me input method change that. Okay, I apologize, y'all. That was just funny. All of a sudden, I saw type coming up on the phone. I was like, who's typing? Uh, but yeah. So, but I think we do need to me coming from being a pastor and so forth, and death being such a part of what what's going to happen when you die. How people are given these gloom and doom. If if you miss it, maybe your life is not as it should be. And I've heard folks that had no religious background at all, because I look at one of these shows that has it talks to people who've had near death experiences, and
Hmm.
you'll have a plethora of people from anywhere from religious to atheists, but they came back, and very often I've heard some say that what you expect normally is what you get. So if you're indoctrinated with the hellfire and the things like that, you may see that. But on the other hand, if you have no expectation, I'm assuming that it just is what it is. You know what I mean? And I don't know where you were, whether you had any kind of religious background at the time of your accident. Did you?
I was a Christian.
Okay, so you were a Christian, but and you did have you've heard the messages, you'd heard that you gotta be saved, and if you're not, you're going
Yeah.
to hell, and so forth. But you didn't experience that.
No. And that's what change. I'm telling you, it will change your life forever because you don't. I don't know. I've heard that on TV. I've never met nobody I had never met no one who actually died and came back. So I didn't really have like someone else to give me a testimony on what it was, except for what I heard on TV. And I don't know. It's not what they tell you. Well, I guess everyone is different because everyone does have different experiences, but that's not what I experienced. I didn't experience the white light and you hear Jesus calling you, come on, it's not your time, all of that. I didn't get all of that. I didn't get all that. It's like I said, it's really the best way to describe it is uh you're everywhere all at once. And that's when
Did you
it's
have a
like,
life review though? Because my sister said it was like it was, you know how they said, if you judge yourself, you shall not be judged. And she said it was
Mm,
basically she was seeing what she did in review, and particularly what she had done to other people. She said she saw it and she felt what they felt, but it was maybe multiplied. But that
mhm.
was the extent of a judgment, because it was watching it, feeling like if I had hurt you, and now I'm seeing this review where I'm seeing back what I did. Now I see what you felt. Now I feel it, say, multiplied by 10 or something, and then
Mhm.
it passes to the next scene in a life. Did you actually have a life review?
I was able to see what I've done in all and the whole entire time. Like I know I was able to see how old I was. I was more than 150 years old. That's another reason why they had me in the psych ward, because I told them I'm going to live to be, way past 200. And they was like, "What?" And I was like, "'Cause I've seen all the grandchildren, and I've seen my life. I saw myself being married again. I saw all these things. I saw everything. I saw when I was a baby. I saw what happened then. I saw all these things. So I was really just trying to make sense of everything because, like I said, 22 minutes in a different realm is a long time. But in this time, it's not a long time. It's 22 minutes how we look at it to be, which is it's not a lot of time. We can go through 22 minutes now and you're like, wow, that's not really a lot of time. But in another realm, you're going through you're going through your whole lifetime. So you're going to go through hundreds of years, different lifetimes. You're going to see yourself how you was before you're in this vessel. I saw myself. That's how I knew that I was a warrior. I also knew that I had led many packs of like armies and militaries. I was a leader of the pack. I was, I remember being a king's wife. I remember I was a warrior. I even know how I died and how I was able to, while I am so scared of heights in this age, in this era of time, I'm scared of heights. So I know why I'm scared of heights. It has nothing to do with what happened to me in this time. You know,
Mhm.
it happened in a previous life, not even directly before this one, lifetimes before that, where I was thrown off of a cliff in battle. People look at you like you crazy when you say that. But then when you know how to travel, and if you've ever died and you've seen yourself in different lifetimes, you're able to experience and you'll say these things. And when you are like around like-minded people who have experienced something similar of the same thing, now we can all take our stories and we can connect it to make it make sense, because a lot of us even still have questions about what we saw and how we experienced it and what does that mean for the future, and are we able to change that time? Because it's like even then when I came back, even sometimes, because I think so much and I'm a big thinker anyway. I'm thinking to
Mhm.
myself, I remember certain things will come back to my remembrance of what I seen. And I'm wondering, am I able to change that? Am I able to change what happened then, and how I reacted and how I do that? And believe it or not, even no matter what you do, whatever's destined for you to do, right or wrong, you're still going to end up right there. So it's like when you're in the realm, the right and the wrong of what you did shows up.
Now, can you call it right? Can you actually call it right and wrong versus this and that?
This or
Because like,
that. That's probably a better way to put it in.
yeah, because you know how when you talk about good and evil on a sliding scale, it's like you go this way, you go that way. You
Mm,
tip whichever way you tip. They're saying that there is no good and evil.
right.
It just is. It's a sliding. It might be at the lower end of whatever, and the higher end of whatever. But from a judgment standpoint, I've heard people say that they didn't feel like they were being judged. They felt love in that space, even though they may have realized that they had done things that we've been indoctrinated to call good or call evil. That in that realm, there wasn't the shame on you, because it was an experience that was already pre-planned.
Right, you don't get the smacking on the hand and you did wrong. That's the better way to put it, is like this or that rather than right or wrong. And really, honestly, the right or wrong is really what we perceive as to be right or wrong, even when we get into the vessel, not necessarily in the spiritual realm. Because really, like I said, in the spiritual realm, there's no emotions. So it's like for someone who doesn't really understand what the fact that emotions are really of a lower self and they're so temporary that they actually have expiration dates, and some faster than others. They don't understand that love really is a force. Now, even when I was younger, I had a hard time really, explaining that how love was so different than feeling um sorrow, sad, anxiety, depression. And I kept trying to explain to people. I was like, no, but love is different. It's like, well, love is an emotion. I was like, no, no, it's not an emotion because you don't feel the love. Like you feel love, but it's not like, oh, I'm feeling sad, I'm depressed, I'm mourning, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling something, but whatever it is, anything that doesn't make you not feel good, that's an emotion. That was the best way I knew how to say. And I was like, whatever makes you feel good, it's in the same family as love. So when you're feeling good, that's how you really feel in the spiritual realm. Like everything is so, it's great. But like I said, right or wrong, like you said, I use the term right or wrong only because it's like when I look back on just the almost 27 years since the accident, and I've looked at what I saw and how I matched up, I'm gonna be honestly real with you. There were some things that I saw that I changed, or should I say that I did differently, but it still ended me to where I got what I got. That's why I say what I say now. Because like you said, not necessarily right or wrong, but this or that. So I'll just
Mhm.
say this or that. But this or that is still going to end up to this because that's what's destined for you. Like you're still going to get this regardless. So what's meant for you is going to be for you. Like they say, what's meant for you is going to be for you. But it's about how fast you get to it. Like you have to sacrifice things. If you start to come into your knowledge of self, then you're going to start sacrificing, getting rid of the old, stepping into the new. And as you do that, more options are going to be out there for you for what's actually already yours. It's already yours. You just got to go get it. So going to get it means sacrificing what is you're not supposed to be doing anymore. You got to sacrifice a lot of the old things, or maybe people that you were around and not being a part of that crowd anymore, not doing certain things, because if you're doing these things and you want this thing, you got to get rid of these things to get this thing. Are you willing to get rid of these things to get this thing? Well, if you don't get this thing, if you don't get rid of these things, then this is going to happen. If you get rid of these things, then this is going to happen. Either way you look at it, you're going to end up with something. But at the end, you're going to still end up with what you came into it. Either one thing's, and then how I try to explain it to people is, for some people, it'll take longer. It is true that you can set yourself back 15, 20, 30 years. You can absolutely do that because of a decision that you made, because you chose this over this. Like the video game. I think they got like my son plays like this little video game where they have it to where you have options to make a choice. So you can make a choice to do this. And if you do that, then this is going to happen. If you make a
Mhm.
choice to do this, then something else happens. But you won't know what's going to happen until you make that choice. But you get options. So, you have it's your will, like let your will be done. That's basically what that is. So I always tell people, let your will be done. Will means choice. Whatever your choice is, let your choice be done, and it's going to end you to you're where you're going to go to. If you make that choice to stick around and do something that you know doesn't make you feel good, then you're going to end up with this toxic situation. Now, you're going to still end up over here, but it's going to take you longer because you took a longer route. Instead of you
Right.
just going straight through here, you decide to stay here, which means you got to go all the way around now, but you're still going to end up over here. Now, here, it's going to get you there in about 5 years. You go all the way around this way, maybe about 25. But by that time,
Yeah.
your views on that thing may change because during this time that you was going through this long process, there's so many things that you had to learn to go through that, and all you had to do is go through here. So yeah, it depends on the choices you make, but you're still gonna end up with that thing. It's gonna take you longer.
Yeah. So we can also, like I said, speak into our lives, the things that I'm a firm believer. I've never had a near death experience, although I firmly believe I've been here before,
Hmm.
because of certain circumstances and in my family's life, and then both my parents have transitioned, but I'm pretty certain that I am my grandmother. That my grandmother, when she made her reappearance, she came through me. So I'm not sure if she's totally there, but I've got a lot of I believe traits my mother didn't even know about because she was only 7 when her mother transitioned. But my mother began to treat me as I got older. I used to say, "Who's the mother? You or me or you?"
Right.
And then I realized at least who she thought I was. You know what I mean? and I had to become more, like you said, I as a Christian initially, my brain wasn't, well, you come back and you come back as somebody else or whatever. No, when you're dead, you're done. Either you're going to hell or you're going to heaven. The same
Right.
same story that everybody else gets. And then I've been get to realize when I started looking at all the circumstances that 9 times out of 10 I probably was her. You know what I mean? But this time I had decided to come back and live my best life. This time,
Mhm.
she died at 33. All right. So my mother was antsy until I turned 34. And then I realized why. Because she realized who I was and she thought I was going to leave again at the same age. And I
Mhm.
did not, you know what I mean? But I still don't have I don't think I have my grandmother's memories, but I have a lot of her some of the things that she dealt with, some of the physical things, that she dealt with. And so I work with Dr. Mark Armstrong in EFT, which is emotional freedom tapping, and one of the things, when you're dealing with issues and especially emotional issues, when you go through the tapping process, it may say, um, you ask yourself the question, can I let this go, as you're tapping? And then the next statement is, I can let this go, and you're tapping. And the third statement is, I will let this go. And then the fourth one is, I let this go now. Right. So I'm working with Dr. Armstrong to get rid of the things that were hers that I don't need in this lifetime. I already acknowledge, I
Powerful.
know, yeah, I already know that I'm you, Grandma Edith, but we don't need to have those issues, from 1944 that took you out. We don't need those issues. So we're letting that. I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. And he also works with going back into your ancestry, all the way, far as back as we can just call it, and heal and release them from the traumas. Because a lot of times, when they talk about epigenetics, what's in our DNA, we got to
Yeah.
cut those cords. We got to cut the cords of those things. Like you just talked about, say the fear of heights, you know, and people will have a scar and it'll be a birthmark, but it might be where they were stabbed in battle,
Right.
or different things. So there is an etheric connection. It's more to life than meets the eye, is what I think I'm trying to say. And as we experience those things, I believe we help others who may be struggling as we experience and embrace them as this is reality too. It might be more real than the life that we're living, that we're doing right out here. You know what I mean? Some say we may be like one mind projecting in, billions of ways at the same time. But when you come to that understanding, then you can overlook. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say overlook, because there's some of us that are disagreeable. But when you realize that we're all one, you can't really be overly angry or so. It's like me telling my toe on my left foot, I hate you. I can't stand you. You have a bunion on it and da, da, da. It's my toe.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So even the disagreeable parts of our communities, our people in particular, and I'm not going to go into it.
Hmm.
I'm learning how to look at it as it's a part of me. They're part of
Right.
me, I'm part of them. So I'm just going to have to love it, or love them to the point of the love you were talking about, not the, mushy love, but enough to
Right.
realize that you'll come into your own one day. You'll know who you are and why you played this role in my life or in the
Right.
lives of other people. Yeah, those kinds of things. I am beginning to become more um, cognizant that need to happen. Need to happen. It has to happen for your own sanity.
Yeah, you got to. And we really are all connected, and that's the reason why us being Moors and being a Moor, our first principle is love. And it doesn't necessarily be have to be being in love, like you said, with someone, because loving someone and being in love is not the same thing anyway. But you can
Absolutely.
have a friendship love, or you can just have love, because we have to operate in that frequency so that we can continue to get what is for us. When we take and we start using, anything the lower self and holding on to things that are really not meant for us because someone else mistreated us or said anything bad about us, we have to understand that a lot of times when people even speak badly on us, it's really about themselves. It's not really even about us. They're dealing with something within themselves that they don't know. And so we have to, by us, being very conscious, we have to know that um, they don't know what they're doing and they're dealing with trauma they have yet to really dissect and heal from. Since they have trauma and we know better, we're not going to entertain that. And that's what love does. Love doesn't entertain what doesn't serve any purpose for us, because you can't get anything from reacting what someone else did. It's like, honestly, when you react based off of what someone else did and we really go all the way with it. And I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've been known to, entertain something of the lower self only because as long as we're in the vessel, we're going to have human moments, but even still, it doesn't make it right. We still have to operate in love, and loving doesn't always mean I got to hang out with you. It just means that I wish you no harm, no harm done to none, and you stay over there, I stay over here. We stay in each other's lanes and respect that. You stay in your space, just don't come in my space, and I'll stay in mine, and we can do that from there. Just don't bother me, and that's what we have to learn how to do as people, and be compassionate to others, even in their most darkest times. Because, like I said, a lot of people don't even know anything about healing. They're like, healing? What you talking about? I'm not traumatized. I don't have trauma. They don't have no idea what you're speaking about. So you really can't even fault people who have no idea what you're talking about. Just some people just don't have no idea.
Some of that
Yeah.
trauma, like I said, may be past life trauma that again may be showing itself in their behavior. But a lot of times, I say this: you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So it has to be somebody else's reflection that they're looking at themselves in you to see that. Okay, I can see that, and vice versa. If you don't see yourself, and I like the way when they say when we call each other reflection, because
Right.
we are reflections of one another.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean? And the only way I see me right now is I'm looking at myself on this screen. But if I was just in my space, the only thing I'm normally going to see, hands move in front of me, maybe might see my extremities, but I don't see who I am. I don't see what others see, unless it's in this vein. So um and I try to keep it calm and keep it balanced as I'm learning, because I used to be very emotional. I used to care a lot about what others thought about me and what what was their opinion, and then I didn't have a real opinion of myself at that time, because if you let everything that comes toss you to and fro just because somebody has maybe a unkind word to say or does an unkind deed against you, you should never take it personally. And we've been taught, indoctrinated to take it personally. And we're not going to talk about it, but last week was like the very first time that something I felt was major came at me, and I felt nothing. And that was the best feeling of balance. Being equanimous, I learned that word several years ago, means balance. And I felt like I'm balanced. I'm not going to be happy one minute and something happens and now all of a sudden I'm down in the dumps and so forth. I'm going to stay balanced so that I can look at whatever situation comes in a rational manner. Because if I act out of pocket, based on that, then now I'm feeling after the fact. Now I've got to uh, beg pardon and if it maybe make restitution or whatever. But when you're balanced, when you know who you are in body and spirit, and see your relationship with others in the right context, that's partly what I call Zen.
Absolutely. I honor you for that because you did that. I was like,
Well,
yeah.
you know, you know. So I just, but I, you didn't, but
Yeah.
it was, but what I mean.
Hmm.
You absolutely know. And but
Yeah.
it was for the first time probably that I could ever remember that something that impactful did not phase me, and
Hmm.
I could only say I'm growing. You
Hmm.
know,
I
another
honor
year,
that. I honor that.
older, and I'm growing.
I
You know what I
honor
mean?
that, but you know how I did. I just, yeah, I did respond. I respond, and only because it's. I've always wanted a sisterhood. I was the only child for 20 years, and my youngest sister, from my mom, that is, not my dad's side, but from my mom, she's the same age as my son, my oldest son, which is 27, and so there's a 20-year difference between us. The thing is that we've never really had a chance to really grow together because I was by the time she was born and she was a baby growing up, and my mom was raising her. I was married, children. Now I'm off to California, and she's over there, getting raised with my mom and so forth. So there's a age gap. There's a gap there. With that
Mhm.
being said, I never really had that sisterhood, whether it's from my dad's children or from my mom's other daughter, and I always wanted that. So as I tried to have that, there was always seemed like females had some type of ulterior motive. So it kind of like made me a little leery about doing sisterhood, but it didn't leave me to where I was so scarred that I wouldn't have compassion for my sister. And it's like one thing about me is that I'm loyal, sometimes loyal to a fault. And if I say I'm down for you, then I'm down for you. I'm not going to let someone else, speak bad about you in my presence. You can't control what another person does. That we know that. But you can control what you entertain. And
True.
as long as you don't entertain it, then the karma doesn't, you don't get a chance to enjoy the karma that comes from it. So I'm like, if I say I'm down for you and that's who you be with me, then I'm going to be loyal to you in every sense of the word. I'm not going to allow no one to slander your name and talk up for you. And it's just like I said, when I was younger, and it goes right back to the bullying days. I didn't have no one to stand up for me and stand and say, no, 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 don't do that to Chung or Diana, don't do that, that's wrong. It was okay, here we go. Gotta take out the earrings, and I got, gotta do it because I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm about to do this. And it was just me and that person. Now you ain't even gonna know that somebody's trying to come after you, but it feels good to know that somebody has your back. And
Oh yeah.
and even it doesn't always have to be physical, because that's one thing. Like, I'm a grandmother now, so I'm not trying to do all of that. I don't have time for that. But sometimes you just need to give and pass on words of wisdom to someone and say, you shouldn't do that. Now for me, I have a little, I get a little passionate, how I be, and I let them know you was wrong for that. That's wrong, because we got to take care of our elders. We got to take care of our children and our matriarchs. We got to do that. That's highly important, because we got to go back to antiquity, which is something that is not being taught to our children nowadays. Our children out here killing our mothers and the elderly and other children. And so we gotta come back to the unity, recognizing that we are connected and that we all are one. Then let's look out for each other and love that neighbor as we love ourselves. We have to get back to that. Somebody got to do it. If
Yeah.
one person do it, each one teach one, reach one, and people will start falling in line with it. Whatever happened to, it takes a village to raise a child. It's like, nowadays the next door neighbor can't have a say on your child, on what they doing. Don't get out the street, baby, don't do that. Don't talk to my child, mind your business. That's how it is nowadays. But when I was growing up, the mothers and the aunties were on the porch. They were watching all the children in the neighborhood, and they had something to say. And
Most
you
definitely.
wasn't going to disrespect the auntie from down the street. You was going to listen to grandma. It might have been your grandma, but she listen, looking out for you, and she said, "Get out the street because there's a car coming. Now move." And she's telling you because she don't want you to get hit. Nowadays, you don't have that love, and it's like we're missing that, and we have to get back to it. So we got to start with one person. If it starts with one, then it'll be a domino effect, and it may not happen like bring, but it's gonna happen, and it may skip over 5 or 10 people, but the next person they're gonna get it, and so forth like that. And then we come together and we teach the ones who didn't get it and let them know. You see, it's better to do it this way. You feel better now? Okay, good. We got to take up for each other, but
Yeah.
we don't want to get
Yeah. Well, I
violent.
think sometimes with me, I mean, I'm like, I'm looking at myself. I ran into a high school friend Saturday at the farmers market, and I recognized her, but I didn't. I almost called her by somebody else's name because she had she had aged, considerably, and like I said, we're the same age, but I probably one of the reasons why some folks don't, when you keep telling people she's an elder, talking about me, I don't look like
Mhm.
an elder. You know what I mean?
No,
I
you
don't
don't.
act like an elder. Although I'll be 70 on my next born day, I don't look like that.
You look good.
So, but I'm saying I think we have this picture of who we from an age, and you're right. Some of them that really do look like that age don't get respected either. Because when I was growing up, you're right. Miss Maxfield was my grandmom's neighbor, and if she saw me doing something, she could not only correct me, she could spank me, tell my grandma, and I get it again.
Mhm.
They weren't fight because she know whatever it was, she was looking out for my best interest. But I think today a lot of us, see your great grandmother also, right? Or yeah, we don't look like great grandmoms. You know what I mean?
Right.
You and I, I'm looking at the way you say, like I got my hair now back like a little pony. I look like a much younger. And so, people think sometimes they could just bully, and say, "Oh, she's just a young girl." Like, and some of the people who come against
Right.
me, I probably my eldest son is 53, right? And if I'm somewhere with him, I mean, we look, you know,
Like brother and sister, right.
yeah, you know what I
See?
mean. So I think they misconstrue sometimes, somebody based on what they see. But even if
Mhm.
that wasn't, even if that's not the case, the simple fact of respecting one another, irregardless to how old we are,
Mhm.
I think is what we've lost. The love of community, and even if we don't agree on everything, finding, I keep saying this, that one thing or couple things that we do, and let that be the basis on which we build, community and camaraderie and fellowship, and whatever we say we want, this, that, and the other, but we start excluding people because they don't meet certain criteria that we set. And each group has its own set of criteria. And my thing is like, okay, bring yours, and yours, and let's see what works, and let's see if what puts the puzzle together. You know what I mean? And folks don't want to do that these days because everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to have the answer, and no one does. Taj Tariq Bey, Grand Sheik, love him dearly, does not have all the answers. He's got a lot of history and so forth, and he's, given us the basis for many, many, many. I'm saying, I want to say millions of people know who they are
Mhm.
because of him. I'll
Right.
venture to say that. But
Including me.
yeah, he
I'll
doesn't
say it.
claim, right. He don't claim to be the be all end all. And so why we can't come together and
Right.
love on each other, especially when we know that here's the piece. It's a movie. It's like it's an act. That's a good segue. I don't know how much I can talk about it, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's an act. It is a performance that we pre-planned in another dimension, if you will, in that before we, formed in our mother's womb, we up there in the spirit realm deciding who our mother and father are going to be, who are going to be the antagonists and the protagonists in our lives, and us vice versa. Somebody's putting us in their lives, and we're writing folks into the script of our lives. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
And even
That's right.
sometimes when a script is already written, they have changes. Maybe the director sees that even on what was on paper doesn't work in this particular scene.
Right.
So there be rewrites and script changes. That's why we don't know everything all the time. You know what I mean? But we basically plan the beginning and the end.
Right.
And I think the middle is the mystery
Yeah,
because
Todd has been down. Todd has been he's been loyal to the Moors of all sets of life. He's been loyal to the Moors since he came out, and I give him honors because I give any Moor that has been doing this since longer than I have been doing honors. I came into the Moorish science because of Taj back in 2017, and was full fledged with about 2018. And like I said, if it wasn't for Ori Bay Publications and me being able to buy the books to learn about traveling and my birthright and things of that nature, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be where I'm at today, because where I'm at today met me, like I said, later on I went to the temple, I learned temple life, and I got out the temple, and then I went into other things. But I did my studies, and I studied a whole lot. I stayed in the Quran, and then I took a little break from the Quran to open up other more knowledge, books and treaties and things like that. So he just gets you started. And I always tell people, you don't want to forget where you came from. You want to still give honors, because this particular Moor has been doing this for so many years. And I can only imagine, you know, what people go through, because honestly, like I said, even though I've been in it since 2018, it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming sometimes. So those who teach and those who, dive into the books to learn more for self so that they can pass that on to others, I give honors to, because it's not easy. He could have dropped out of it long time ago, and then where would someone like myself be if he had dropped out of it back in 2010 or 2015, when here I am coming along as a baby, and a baby in the more science, and here I come 2017 just walking up, oh, what y'all doing? What is this? And I'm reading it. I'm like, this kind of makes sense. Okay, where you get this from? So that's why I say I give him honors. And no matter what anyone says against it, I'm learning, to keep a tune, a deaf ear to it, because those people are not going to be grateful for those our elders who are giving us this knowledge, so that even if it was some of it was wrong then, at least he's staying there to course correct and show you, okay, well, we learned this, and now here we are here. Just like government changes every day, so the way this knowledge is coming and things are unveiling for us more, it's unveiling every day. So there are things that we're learning, like, wait a minute, that's not what I thought it was. But at least he's still there to continue to teach. And he's going to be there to teach even my 9-year-old. My 9-year-old knows who Taj Tariq Bey is. So it's not like our children are learning, because, like I said, in 2018, he was 3 years old. So he was learning. He knows the Quran. He knows the 101s. He's learning. And that's just who he is. We just let our children just learn who they are. And I continue to learn. And as he's learning and he comes and to learn, teaching us about what he's learned more, him and Sabir Bey and Seer Ducateers, I've learned from these Moors. These are noble, noble Moors that I've learned from, and I've watched their walk. So when I see people come against them, I look at all these other Moors from the side eye, because at the end of the day, we go right back to our first principle. We have 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, with the first principle being love.
Love.
So even if you may not agree with what that more is saying, there's a way to conduct yourself, because this is the reason why people look at us the way they do look at us. Because there's a lot of Moors who are supposed to be operating in that love and are operating in justice as the first principle. So they just slamming people because this is what you do, this is what you do. And I got involved in that, and I was like, wait a minute, hold up. This is not who I be. I don't slander. I build relationships. I don't make enemies. And I'm not gonna do that. So if they're doing something different now, then why not be love and teach them what you know, and let's see if maybe we can come together with that knowledge. If they choose not want to do that, that should be okay. It should
Yeah.
be so okay that they don't want to do that, because you got to realize it either may not be their time for to learn it, or maybe they know something that you don't. So why not connect with them and see how you can still build based off of what you know, what they know, and how you can put it together. If you can't put it together, try to find a medium in the relationship so you can find the purpose that is supposed to be met between the both of y'all, because you didn't meet for no reason. There's a coincidence. It's nothing as a coincidence. So there's a purpose in the meet. Find out what the purpose is, and the purpose is not to make an enemy and to just draw somebody dry like that. I watched Moors and how they come together, and then they start off with the building, and then later on they start slandering each other. And I'm saying, we ain't supposed to do that. You see, we got children that we got to uplift and we got to bring in. This is not what we call uplifting fallen of humanity. If this is what you guys call uplifting fallen humanity, then I don't want to be no part of it. I'll just bow out gracefully and I'll be done. And I'll just be done with it, because that's not what I'm going to do to my Moors, my brother or my sister. I'm going to help those in need that I can help, and whoever I can't, those I can build from and learn from. I have no problem saying I'm a student to you, and we're students,
Right.
all a student to somebody, because none of us know everything. So it's okay to say I don't know something. But a lot
True.
of more come and say, oh, I knew that. But if you did and you saw that I needed to know, why not show me rather than slander me and put me down because I don't know something? That's not how we're supposed to do each other. and that's what you think is okay, then maybe you shouldn't be teaching the science to people who are coming in and hungry. Because in this time of Aquarian, of course, the veil is lifted, but people want to know what's going on. People are looking for their freedom. They're looking for a new government. They're looking for answers. They've got questions and they need answers. So as Moors, why not come together based off of the knowledge that we currently know right now, learn from each other so that we can be able to uplift the fallen of humanity together? It's just like it reminds me of like when I see this, and in the time that I've been doing it, it reminds me of like different churches. Like everybody be like, "Oh, I'm Christian, I'm Christian, I'm Christian," but then you got the Pentecostal, you got the Methodist, you got the Baptist, you got Lutheran, you got all these different denominations of Christianity, and they all saying the same thing. So you're saying the same thing, but okay, because you come over here and maybe you guys don't speak in tongues, but you guys do, and you guys go to church on Saturday, but you guys go to church on Sunday, but you guys are still supposed to be worshiping the same God, right? Okay, so we're all under the same faith. Why can't we just all just love each other and respect each other's level of understanding, and understanding, and go from there? So that we can be able, because everybody's got different understanding. People come into it and be scared to learn the Moorish science because of how they see people go at each other on social media alone. And that's why I be telling people, nah, come on over here where the love is at, because we ain't gonna do all the extra stuff. We ain't gonna do all of that. If you know this, it's okay that you know this. If you don't know this, it's okay that you don't know it. Maybe you know something that I don't, and I can teach you something that you don't, and let's build together. So we can build the way we're supposed to build in love.
Absolutely. I was looking at one of these reaction videos one day about 2 weeks ago, and the brother showed, how they show the TikTok videos and they're giving reaction to him, and the guy was reading out of a book about, I think, the birth certificate. And I said, oh, I rolled it back until I could see the name of the book. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up purchasing the book. It's called I always try to show folks what I get. It's
Land of
called
the free, home of the
The
slave.
Land of the Free, Home of the Slave. And
Mm-hmm.
when the book came the other day, still on what we were talking about, the brother gives his dedication in the beginning by Jalil Bey, and he gives his dedication in the front and says that he first started writing a basic civics book for his wife, solely for to teach her some fundamentals of law. But he said, eventually it came out to be this whole book, and so he gives her credit for sticking with it. But then he says, furthermore, he wants to give some special shout outs to the following people who have been critical in my learning, blah blah blah. And the first name he says is Taj Tariq Bey, the grandfather of us all. Without his comment and loyalty to the Moorish divine and national movement, I truly believe we'd be even more behind than we are today. I stand firm on the assertion that 97% of new Moors are conscious of their birthrights and nationality solely due to his works. I am forever indebted to him. The countless hours of consciously studying his lectures, reading his literature, countless hours falling asleep and letting my subconscious mind be educated by him are somewhat reflected in the certain concepts in this book. I truly appreciate and honor his existence by simply doing what he always says: get the work done. And then he goes on to name some more. But the very first, and when I called Grand Sheikah Valley, he didn't even know about the book, right? And I said, yeah, I said, he got a dedication to you as the first one after his wife. But it's indicative of like we were saying earlier, how people, his steadfastness. And I don't know how many times people will call me and say they're driving trucks and they're listening to videos, the audio portion of videos, while they drive in these long roads, or they go to sleep with the, like he said, when we'll get it by osmosis. As I sleep, my subconscious is
Right.
learning. And still, like I said, even the redundancy, after a while, it took redundancy for me to get what I got, because I
Yeah.
didn't think I was paying attention. And he was here, at one time, once a month and then twice a month. And I was like, that's for them people, those people. I have a venue so that those people can get this information. And it took
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years before I became one of those people and I was hosting, the venue. But I still didn't see it's, I'm working in corporate America. I'm a department head, things like that. You don't see yourself these are the needy people. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. These are the people that are losing their home. I'm a housing director. I mean, I was just, mentality, didn't say it, but that was in the back of my, this is not for me. But it's a whole larger picture. And one day I realized the things that he was teaching, I did know it. I started getting questions from people when, they called me because they can't call him. And I needed to give people an honest response. And one day I actually told him something, and to myself, I said, I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And, the calls haven't stopped. And I can't answer all questions, but at least I talked to so many people and from so many different places that I can normally remember. Oh, I got somebody that I can kind of connect you with. Like Rod Hayes calls me the connector. I connect people because I get so many calls and connections, and I got maybe over 3,300 people in my contact list, mostly Moors. Right. So I do remember sometimes who does what, so that I can try to help somebody get what they
Right.
need. Not that I have it all. I don't have it all, but I know somebody that has maybe that to help you. There was a sister that called the other day with an IRS issue, and she was getting calls, and I was able to, and she was in tears, and connected her with another sister that's a more and does taxes. And by the time the conversation was over, it was a three-way. She was laughing on the phone. She was crying at first because the sister with the tax experience was able to tell her sister, what you did was right. And then you need to do this, and this in terms of when these calls come in. You don't do this, you don't say this, and all that. But as far as how you're set up, you on your Job, you did the right thing.
Right.
You everything on your W, whatever it is indicative that you are not a U.S. citizen, that you are not liable for taxes. So whoever is contacting you, don't let them frustrate you. Do this,
Right.
and that. So I'm on the three-way, kind of, I'm hearing it, but just to go from tears to laughter, it made me feel good because it hurt me so bad that this sister was crying that I said, okay, let me just try to do a three-way. And I normally don't do three ways. I'll say, let me see if I can give you how to contact them via email. I don't give people's numbers out, stuff like that. But this one touched me so much. I said, and our sister Shafe, was able to allay her fears and have her smiling and laughing that she had in fact done the right thing. But I'm saying that's what I do. Do I
Yeah.
know everything again? No. But I
Right.
know people who do know things that I don't know.
And
And
see,
it don't
that's how me and you, because yeah, people have called me like the connector too, because I'm connected to a lot of different people. So like if people say, ask me questions, like what you were saying, they ask me questions, and if I don't know something, I will help. I may know somebody who actually does. So I'll connect you to them so that you can get what you need. And sometimes that's really what the purpose of the connect is
yeah,
for you to be connected to this person that you already are. So they're there, like on standby, basically. And then when that person who needs that person, this is another reason why I always tell people, always be kind, never burn bridges, because you just never know what you're going to need. Just because you may not need that person for that particular thing or something does not mean that what they do, how they do it, or who they do it with is wrong. It's
right.
just not what you do. Respect it, be peace about it, go about your business. If you ever need something or need to connect someone to that person, you want to have a good name and some kind of reputation with that person
Right,
so that
right,
they will at least accept your call, talk to you, accept your time and your energy, and be able to assist you with that person. Because you are connected to people and you're connecting people, your name's got to be everything. You can't be a person who is combative, confrontational, just always, got something ill to say to somebody instead of always lifting them up in their time of need. Because sometimes we don't ever always say what's going on. I know I don't. But sometimes some of us strong ones need a hug or just a smile or just words of encouragement or something. It goes a long way with someone like us. The strong need stronger people. So you
absolutely.
just got to be careful. But I just don't burn bridges. I'm careful who I, you know, speak to or speak upon or how I speak with them, because you just never know. And you don't want to, like I said, there may be people who may need assistance. So I want to be able to connect you to somebody. Just a moment. I know somebody who does that. Let me go hit them up and see, what their schedule looks like. And let me connect the both of you. And then I'll get like, a little testimony from them saying, oh my God, I'm so glad you did that. Because I'm going to connect you to great people, I attract great people, and I want to stay in my greatness so that I can continue to track who I am. Because that's another thing too. You attract who you be. So if you always thinking, everybody ain't SH, IT, then maybe because you're not either. I mean, you attract who you are. So, you know, I
That's
got
good.
you. So I guess I'm going something great because I got you around. So
Oh, listen, y'all, when Sister Chung and I first really connected, like I said, she was on she was doing call her truck live stream, or were you in your truck or your bed or
yeah, my try.
she was doing the truck live streams a few years back, and I just happened to click on and listen, and I must have said in agreement to something you said. I made a comment, and then you were like, "Oh, Dr. J, it's on the line," and then she began to prophesy to me. And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I mean, all these other people I think were on there, but you singled me out, and you started saying what you saw for me. You started speaking into my life, and then, um, speaking greatness into my life.
Yeah.
And we don't do that enough for each other. We don't do that
Yes.
enough. We don't lift one another up as much as we should. And again, I mean, we stand in the same vein, but it's all about the love. And you notice I most of the time I try to use this background with the heart, because it,
Mm.
leading from
Love.
purpose my color, and then leading from the heart. I'm learning how important it is, for my aura, my heart chakra to be right, to be
Yes.
full, and to be emanating outward to people, because that's right there in the middle. I mean, which when you're talking about could be this or that, that's like right in the middle between this or that, believe
Yep.
it or not, is your heart.
It's your
And
heart.
if right, and if you don't lead with your heart, I think as they say, you will end up really, people who don't are miserable people in some level at some point. You can't just be mean and cantankerous all the time and be balanced and be happy. You don't like yourself, but you put it off on other people.
Right.
You really don't like you, because and that's what it is. And like I had someone do that to me a couple of years ago, and this lady cussed me out on the phone. And I can't even remember what it was about, but she was a Moore calling in for something. And and I were
Wow.
we were in Foreman Mills. I'll never forget it. And he loved Foreman Mills. So I'm waiting for him. So I come in, and the lady calls me, and I can't even tell you what it was about. But she called me everything but a child of God. And I'm still trying to remember what it was. So I was like, you know what? I'm listening on the phone. And so back then I was always trying to hold peace, because I didn't, want to upset anybody. But at
Mhm.
least now, what I do now is, if somebody really, really, really ruffles my feathers, I'm not afraid to speak up for myself. I don't have to cuss you out,
Right.
but I do have the right to say, that's not acceptable. And I'm just going to hang up. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hold the phone and let you cuss me out. You know what I mean? For whatever reason it is. And I think that's in life a lot of times, we allow people to do things because we think we have to take. No, we don't have to take it, but we can still be lovable. We can still be lovable in our heart, even if it's not, even if you don't hear me say I love you, as long as I ain't cuss you out from what you did to me, you must know that something greater than me is operating this thing. You know what I mean? And so, even like I said, with what happened with, in the last week or so, to feel nothing was the greatest feeling.
I
That's the
was
greatest.
proud of you. I was
Yes.
proud of you.
I thought, is it going to change? Am I all of a sudden going to have a wave of like,
No, that's you. That's you.
and it absolutely was nothing. It was nothing. And I was like, that's the best. That's like bliss. That's like
Hmm.
zen. That's like
That's
not
bliss.
being bothered. But it's coming, and that's what happens. A lot of us, we get bothered. Speaking of bothered, and because our last 30 minutes, a lot of people are bothered by next Monday,
Hmm.
the 8th of April,
Yeah.
and the eclipse. And what does it mean? Because they're saying, have enough food and have. I know for a fact that if anything unseemly happens on April 8th, that it was premeditated, created by people in the flesh that are
Yeah.
trying to further an agenda to destroy America. I'm not talking about the US, but America and
Right.
you know,
The
people
corporation.
in it. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
know what that is. I know
Mhm.
exactly what that is. And so my choice is to not participate in not be prepared for anything because I've had that 25-year survival stuff for like the last 4 years. I got I got 3, 4, 5, 6 months worth of dry stuff that I can, as long as I got water, I can mix it up.
Right.
But I have decided, like I said, that I am not going to participate in the fear mongering. I am
Mhm.
not going to unplan my life thinking it's going to be over after that. You saw
Right.
yourself all of these years in the future. Well, you know, and that's
Yeah.
impossible unless you're going to be you the only one that's going to make it.
No, we all gonna make it. But that's what I was telling him. I was like, listen, at the worst, it'll be at the most 3 months
Mhm.
with no lights. Some people are gonna go longer without lights, and that's gonna be mainly because of where they're gonna be located at, as far as
Right. And
city.
if the lights go out, the grid goes out, they put it out. They
Right, but
took
the
a photo.
massive power grid is not gonna go out. It's gonna be
Yeah.
because there's a total of 20 grids. So the master power grid is the one that controls
All
all
of
of
them.
this, everything.
Mhm.
So that means that all lights gonna go out in the United States, and then it'd be an entire blackout. But they only said 8 states. So with that being said, that means only and maybe surrounding states around it. So that just means only maybe one or two power grids are gonna go out. But there's 20 power grids connected to the corporation of the United States of America. So with that being said, as long as the master grid doesn't go out, it's like a backup generator. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we're
Mhm.
gonna have that. It's just a matter of when we're gonna be able to get our lights and stuff back on. So I always tell people, get your solar power stuff up to par, get your water, get all your stuff so you're not sitting over there, eating grass out the backyard or whatever,
But
you know.
don't act as if the world is coming to an end. I mean,
No.
this world is going to be here when we going back to other worlds.
Hmm.
I believe, I really feel like that, but I believe that we can create whatever it is we manifest. Our minds are so powerful that whatever
Hmm.
you focus on, you create. You create that. You
Yeah.
eventually will create that. So I chose personally not to get into telling people, okay, if this is going to happen, that I firmly, like I said, talk to me on the ninth. That's it.
See,
I'm gonna do a live on the ninth. That'll be Tuesday.
listen, I told everybody, listen, I let everybody, the way I explained it to everybody is this on the 8th, and I know they're trying to do the whole fear thing. When I said definitely stack up everything, but most importantly, understand that this is a time where people are going to come into their superpowers. This is like a superpower. It's like a this is basically what the 8th is. It's a light bulb coming on for a lot of people, mostly for the children that are coming into this world. So
Mhm.
anywhere from 12 years and under. Those are the ones you're gonna see a lot of big, because they call them the crystal children, not
Mhm.
the indigo children. These are the crystal babies that came from the sixth dimension. Those are the ones that are here, and those are the ones that these are the ones that are going. Now people are like, what does that mean? I'm like, okay, so have y'all seen the stories where a child has, what, 6, 7, 8 years old, and they've gone to college, and like that, those are the crystal babies. Like they come in knowing engineering already, because these
Right.
are souls that had to come back because they left too soon. And there was something that you were telling me that I've really got to go research that and go look at that. It really got me going. When you were saying how you get 5 chances, or what were you saying about the 5 chances?
5 exit strategies.
5 exit strategies. Yes, I need to check. I love that. When you said, I was like, oh, something else for me to go ahead and dissect, because I'm a nerd. I like that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Right. And like I said, and most of the time, depending on how old you are, you can look back on your life and go and see, like, count 1, 2, 3 times when
Yeah.
coulda, woulda, shoulda gone out of here. That thing happened. That he did that. You were this close to being, but you, of course, had an exit. What that was one of your exit strategies. You just did.
Right.
You had the experience, but you didn't go out. So
Right.
you chose to come back in the body and deal with the pain, because the pain wasn't in your etheric self. The pain was in the vessel that you
Mm.
exited from. So you chose to come back in it and
That
continue
rem-
this life and speak
yeah, that
and
reminds
be.
me of that movie. That reminds me of that movie. Remember that movie, Final Destination? They had different parts to it. Like when you don't die
But
this way,
yeah,
like
they want to. Yeah.
you don't die this way, so it's gonna be another way that you're gonna probably die. So because you missed it and it got your friend, and you just happened to, a hairline just you missed death by a hairline. So then, 10 years later, something else is going to approach you again. And if you happen to miss that, it's going to be another one that just might catch you. It reminds me when you said that, it reminded me of Final Destination. I said, oh, because I was just thinking when I was watching that movie, I'm going to say maybe a couple months ago, and I've always seen the movies already, but I was looking at it and it made me think about something. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so when they create these movies for a purpose. They're trying to tell us something. But what is it in the movie Final Destination are they trying to tell us? Like, did we skip our life? Did you skip a death? Or like, because you skipped a death, another one's going to happen, but it ain't going to be the way you think it's going to be worse. It's going to be better. What are they trying to tell us on that? So I know that I remember when I was younger, that and I know you had corrected me on that when I was saying that, um when I said that when you die it's your fault, and you corrected me, you was like, no, it's not your fault, it was, what'd you say it was?
Well,
When I
I
said
said it's your plan. It's
it's
actually
your
your
plan, that's
it's
right,
your
it's your
plan.
plan, so it's not necessarily
Yeah.
your fault, but it
Yeah.
is it is the plan because you thought about it.
Oops. 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 Wow. I think we may have. I'm not so sure if she's losing power. Let's see, y'all. Well, we're almost at the end, but we have about 24 minutes to go. Let me see if she gets back in. Otherwise, let me see. Let me see who's in the chat. Well, see if we can get her back on. In terms of okay, let me put some. Well, thank you, Sister Tracy. Taj and Dr. G show is common these times. Thank you so much. Glad to hear that. Just bring up some of these. I don't know whether her phone died or what. Oops, it's just me, y'all. Um, Let me see. Well, I'm gonna see if she gets back on. But in the meantime, and in between time, I hope you all are planning to come and be with us on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. Very much looking forward to seeing you all in person at our Spring into Action Conference 2024. I will say this, we've made a decision. We were going to do a second one in I think September, but this will be our only one for 2024. We are going to plan for 2025 because we believe we're going to be here. Um, and give more of you an opportunity to um, get whatever you need together so that you'll be able to come. So we will not be doing. Oh, goody. Okay, here she is.
There I go.
There you are. I got you back. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
won't be. I was telling them that we won't be doing a second conference this year. We're just doing the one that's this month, April 26th through 28th. And I wish you were going like the day you come the day after. I think the day after you're going to be here on the East Coast, but I wish you were able to get here a day or so early so at least you'd be able to come by. But
Hmm.
so and we would love to have folks have their tickets by the 10th because we're trying to, we got to know how many people we have to feed and so forth. And
Right.
so folks are, they dribbling in, but we're not going to have another conference this year as we had originally stated. So we're just going to have the one and we just want folks to come on out. But you're back. So yeah, I'm not sure what you were saying when you lost the power, but it's still can we talk a little bit about not specifically but a little bit about because it wasn't in your bio, one of your professions, one of the things that you do, one of the other things that you do,
Sure.
um when I talked about not specific but acting.
Oh yes, you want to talk about that? Okay, good. Let's
Yes,
talk about
can
it.
we before we go, can you share with
Yes.
us whatever you can share about that?
Yes, absolutely. So I hadn't been in acting for a while, and I got I got a call from an old agent and a couple months ago. And so I had to update my profile and my portfolio and everything like that. And because it's been such a while, I had to do everything digitally. So everything's been changed. You don't actually have to necessarily go there when you're auditioning for something that could be out of state. And so now they're able to uh, have people who audition from different states for one particular thing. So based off of my profile or my portfolio rather, they said that I had fit for Stranger Things and it was Bad Boys 4. And I went into that thinking that's what I was going in there to audition for. So I went in there for that and came out with a response that I was picked for Sisters, Cobra Kai, Stranger Things. So they kind of eliminated me from
Bad
uh,
boys.
Bad Boys 4. So they
Mhm.
eliminated me from that. So Sisters is something that I'm very familiar with because I actually watched Sisters. So I was actually like, oh, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I was like, oh my God, I fit for that. So I fit for that. So I'm getting ready for that. And so it's 3 episodes for the new season coming in. So I can only really speak on that, and that's really it. Anything else as far as Cobra Kai, I kind of turned that down because I haven't watched any Cobra Kai. A lot of people are telling me it's like a military show, but I'm not one to really watch a lot of TV because I do a lot of studying and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I guess that's my downfall 'cause I don't really know much about Cobra Kai. And so also with Stranger Things. So Stranger Things and Sisters. You look out for me on there, and you'll see me. So I'll show where I'm at in those scenes, and you'll be able to see me in those scenes. So hopefully it
And that's
leads to something more
well,
greater.
I'm saying, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
you, for those roles coming up, and just happy for you, just so happy for you,
Thank you.
because you can. I've seen you, go into some roles. You were kind of giving you were ranting at the time, but I saw you act in the middle of it, and I was like, even when she's upset, I said, she's acting. Look at that. But that's good. That's good. So we're yeah, congratulations. Yeah, and that's so cool. We know her, and
Yeah, they told me
so,
it's like, well, you have the personality for it. They like my personality. They liked how, I can just switch up like that. So that was really good. He liked how I could ad lib, and there were some things that I added in. So yeah, it's
yeah,
amazing. You guys
yeah. So you're gonna
gonna
be
enjoy
on
it.
Sisters, not
Sisters.
it's SISTAS. It's not sisters.
Sisters. Right,
It's
not
sisters.
sisters, but sisters.
Sisters. Tyler Perry sisters.
Tyler
So
Perry sisters.
yeah. So yeah. So
3 episodes. You'll see me in.
yeah.
Three.
Well, I know you're gonna let me know. So
Yes, I'm gonna put you in.
we could
I'd like
definitely.
for you to come down there to the studio with me.
Well, that's in Atlanta, right? That Atlanta.
Mhm.
I
College
told
Park,
you
yeah.
my son domiciles at Atlanta, and I already, he has a 2 bedroom apartment. And I can go stay with him. I was just down there in November, but I certainly will. If you invite me down, I'll come on down. Yeah.
Yes, come
So,
on.
and I, like I said, we are, and so, and life goes on. That's the
Mhm.
thing. You know what I mean? Life goes on. Bringing on such a great glowing. Oh, I like this. Let me put this up here. Thank you, Dr. G, for bringing on such a great glowing queen. She is an eye full of love. Oh, and that's sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we appreciate that. I appreciate that, and then I'm not gonna say anything about anything else because I'm when that happens, and I'll be excited. To probably to be maybe you might be a little closer to this side of the globe,
Yes.
if you will, and that'll be awesome because you'll be able to do some other things. So we're excited about. And somebody asked me to say something about our conference. I'm not sure what you wanted me to say, but the conference is actually April 26th, 27th, 28th. It is if you go to houseofreawakeningminds.com, you can register there. Uh, and we're looking to get some work done. We didn't want to just meet to meet. We wanted to meet to work. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So if we can work some things out. Preferably we'll be able to leave there like the last time, because our CEO Cynthia Martin L is such an awesome facilitator. So she knows how to have us do the breakouts and
Yeah.
all of that. And like I said, somebody was complaining about the diversity of the folks coming, but that's exactly what this is about. Everybody bringing their piece to the table. And you just said
Yes.
it earlier, not necessarily, we don't necessarily have to all agree 100% on everything, but let's find the things we agree on. Let's see if, like I said, if the pieces fit to make a whole puzzle. That's what
Yes.
we need to do. And we need to do it based, like you said, the 5 principles, starting with love. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
Love doesn't mean you agree with everything. Love just means you respect other people's opinions and other people's presence. You know what I mean? Other people's contributions. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we are,
Absolutely.
hopefully, you will. We're looking forward. Like I said, we haven't. I'm gonna be real honest. We have not sold as many tickets as I would like to have see sold. So we need to sell some more tickets, y'all. And I need y'all to
Okay.
go to the website and get your tickets. And I really wish I could. If it's the finances, I'm gonna put this out there. We have a group of people who worked as volunteers to help remodel, do some things to the building. They know who they are, the team. So I'm not, anybody on the team that came and helped with the repairs, which started in 2022, the second set of repairs. Y'all reach out to me because I'm going to give you a massive discount because you are the guys that came together and put your own blood, sweat, and tears to, repair the building and bring it to where it is today. So, if you want to come and you're one of those, you know who you are. It's probably about 15 or so of them. Please reach out to me. I want to make sure that you get to come and you don't have to worry about that because they did it out of the kindness of their hearts. I mean, major work that would have cost thousands of dollars. And, so please reach
That's
out to
love.
me.
Yes.
We need y'all to show up, y'all, and anybody else. If you're on the fence, come because this is the last one. The only one that we're going to do in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So we just not. We made a decision that for the best. We don't want to overtax people. We know how things are getting tight, but we'll just do this one right here. And I'm not saying that we won't have other things at the House of Reawakening Minds. It just won't be of that caliber with these, with these presenters coming.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't be able to do that. We will be doing other things, but but I'm looking. I'm kind of when you get to the place where it's almost time for the thing. That's where I got butterflies in my stomach. Just real like
Yeah.
Enough people there but whoever's already is coming. We're going to have the conference.
Yeah. At the conference, let's have it. Let's have it.
We just like a few more of you to get your tickets. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
let me see. Let me see if there are any questions or comments here in the last 12 minutes or so. Okay, that was when you yeah, okay. So people were making comments about when we were talking about April 8th. Somebody says I'll be fasting and meditating. They can have the fear. I'm gonna be here because I have a role to carry out.
I know that's right.
I
I
say.
say.
Yeah.
I say.
So that's a let me see. Yes, I told you about the conference. Here's a thank you. Dr. G. Chung Diana Bey is truly a warrior, and one of her main weapons appears to be joy and information. Thank you for sharing her. Oh, you're so welcome.
Listen. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Let me see. There's some awesome talk news. Congratulations on sisters and
Thank
strangers.
you. Thank you, sis.
Okay. Okay, and somebody else was saying that they definitely will I guess be checking out. Sounds like something my wife would watch. That's the only time I ever watched TV.
Aw.
All right, so here's somebody else says, congrats, sis. I'm a fan of Stranger Things. We'll definitely look for you. right.
Thank you. Peace.
Yeah, so so we appreciate, I appreciate please post a flyer, house of waking.com. Yeah, mean great workout. Yeah. So okay. I forgot my password to the website. How do I reset? I don't know. Look, we have a Sister LaChris is the most awesome webmaster. I don't know about that, but you can. You don't need your password if you try to register for the conference. It's just right there on the page. But I don't know. Tracy, Sister Tracy, maybe if you click on it, it should have maybe a forgot password. A forgot let me bring it down. Forgot password. Normally that, and then you can click on and change it. Otherwise, I don't know. You may have to. I like this, Sister Light, Empress Light to Jerry Bay said April 8th is all in our favor. The doors are open for us. I receive it.
I say,
I
peace is the light to Jerry Bay. I remember you. I used to come to your classes. I remember you. Peace, Empress.
receive. Let me see how we to follow the.
She's a
Oh,
warrior.
here's somebody else says, where or how can we continue to follow this queen and her journey? Well, if you look at the description of this, go back to if you're on YouTube and in Facebook, in the description, you'll also see all of your links, your IG link, your was it TikTok? Do you have TikTok? IG,
Yeah.
Facebook, all of that is in the description of the show. So you can let me see. Would love to go. If okay, here's a question. Somebody said wanted to know if you chose to come back or was that beyond your control?
It was kind of like beyond my control. It felt like I was forced. Um, Almost like what Dr. G was saying with the young lady that she explained. But like I was saying to you, it was almost like someone was trying to wake me up, and it was like a force. I just can't explain more. That's the best way I can put it. It's like a force that kind of forced me to come back. So like when you come back, that's when you start to feel pain and you're feeling, but it's almost like you're still sleeping. And then the pain comes and once everything starts to settle into the physical vessel of the body, that's when you start to feel things. But the motion from there, from the spiritual realm to the body, it felt like it was more forced, more like I didn't have control over it because I was just there. I was just really just there paying attention to what was going on, and then it just forced me back in. So I just feel like, Allah, and I didn't think that then, but in the time I was like, oh, God said it wasn't my time. I remember my mom asking me, did God tell you it wasn't your time? And I said, no. She said, so you didn't see Jesus? I said, no. She said, you're supposed to see Jesus. I said, I didn't see Jesus. She says, well, you must didn't die then. I said, no. She said, because my mom was a minister, for 12 years. So in her mind, I'm supposed to see Jesus, but I didn't
Yes.
see Jesus.
Maybe I saw Jesus and he didn't look like what y'all told me he would.
It might have been Bob Marley. No, I didn't see Jesus though. But I told it was like a force. You really do see everything all at once. I saw my life when I was a baby up until, like I said, way into my elder years. I was well over 150 years old. So I know I'm going to live past 100. I know that for sure. I saw so many children. So I have a lot of children that's going to come from what I'm building, building now. There was just so much that I've seen. And when I literally came back into my physical body, there's a lot of memory that I lost. So it's like you see all this in the spiritual realm, but when you come back into the physical realm, a lot of that memory that you saw, you don't remember unless you actually tap into yourself and you start doing that, that work for yourself to really go back and channel, to go back to go see what happened, what you can't remember. So there are things that I really do want to go back and try to remember what I saw. As time goes on, there are certain things that are coming back to my remembrance, but I did lose a lot of my memory. So It's very interesting. My life is very interesting how I look at things, how I see things now, even how I treat people. So I'm very careful, and I'm always making sure that I treat people with the utmost kindness, respect. And when people treat me wrong, I guess I have my moments, but at the same time, I'm
I
not
don't mean
one
to
who
say
wishes
it, but
ill.
you know why I'm smiling.
Why you smiling? What you do?
You
What I
know what
do?
I'll say. Like, I know, but like I said, you are a warrior. You can definitely be, you can exhibit your warrior characteristics. You know,
Yes. I do.
at times. And I'm just glad that I'm not on the receiving end of
I
that.
am my sister's keeper. I will tell you that. I am my sister's keeper and my brother's keeper too. I like to look out for those who can't look out for themselves. I definitely will try to be a help. I love that because someone helped me get to where I am. I didn't get here by myself. There were angels that came in that were part, I call it being part of the recipe. They were part of the recipe for me for my growth. So you have to, if you want to grow and you're praying for growth, you're meditating for growth, then you have to be open to receive. You can't close a door on your own personal growth and close your door to people who are trying to come in simply because they look away or they didn't come the way you expected. You never know how the person's going to come into your life to assist you or help you. So you should be receiving and keep your eyes open, your third eye open at all times, because if you're meditating for personal growth and for elevation, then that means that what you least expect will be maybe the answer that you need for your elevation. But don't turn anything down, but definitely keep your eyes open and don't be a sucker to anybody either. Be sucker free. That 1-800 free.
Well, I love the quote, about when you talk about being blunt. It I love that anyway. But
Be so blank and spoke my
I'm
truth.
so blunt you can smoke my truth. I was like, oh wow, I love that. I absolutely love that. Because why I love it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
it's it's I like that. I like that. I think you should make a T-shirt with that on there.
That's what my hubby says. My hubby says he's got all my little quotes and stuff. And he says to me, he says, I got all your quotes. I'm gonna make a t-shirt and we're gonna get all these together. We're gonna put it all together so you can have your stuff. This is
That's
what
right.
you say. I
Put
said,
it
okay,
out there.
I'm gonna let you do that. Yeah, he's my personal angel. Hmm.
Oh wow.
We're gonna
Oh
talk
well.
about that one day, how that came about. Because let me tell you,
Well,
life is amazing. How we can really manifest literally manifest the male or female version of us.
wow, wow, wow.
I
Yeah.
can't wait.
So again, to Askia El Nasir Bey. Yeah. Hopefully, you will look in the description, and I think we also have like your email addresses there, as well as the links for IG and yeah, Facebook, email, and I must have
And the
done
tick
something.
the
And
TikTok
IG.
Chris_Chung.
Yeah, we didn't have that on there. You didn't
Hmm.
send me that. So,
Okay.
but anyway, if you look for Chung, you know, then you will find her. And I think that's absolutely that's great. Somebody else said, whatever you said, I needed to hear that. LOL, currently being bullied by a neighbor. Oh wow.
Mhm.
So I tell you what, I know somebody who was had an issue with somebody who said something about them. I'm just gonna put it this way, and it wasn't good at all, and they kind of spoke deaf to them, and they heard it, but the people that spoke it didn't know that they heard it, and so they
Mhm.
just returned it to sender,
Mhm.
returned it
That's
to
right.
sender, they returned it to sender, and the one that spoke deaf over them actually died like within a month or so. Like I think on Thanksgiving Day.
Mhm.
Not funny,
Right.
but they were pronouncing death on them. And when they
Mhm.
said what they said back, they just said, they were horrified because they were hurt. But they just
Yeah.
said, return to sender, return to sender. And
Right.
they literally, it was two people that it was said to about. And the interesting thing is that the person died. And then on their funeral day, they have their funeral, their mother who had been sick died.
Wow.
Just two for two. So you have to be careful. what you say
Mm-hmm.
about other folks,
That's right.
especially if, the power of life and death is in the tongue. You put
That.
out death, but just like boom, it's a boomerang coming back at you.
That's
So we do
right.
have to be careful. We do have to be careful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Especially when you send it back 300-fold, it'll come right on back. And it's not taking 30 years for karma to hit. It's taking 30 seconds, since karma ain't, it's coming right like around like a wheel. That's
yes,
why you treat kindly, you treat people kindly, you're gonna get kindness right on back. But you shouldn't really
absolutely.
necessarily always expect, when you do it from the heart. Don't expect nobody to always give you a cookie, but have that heart of love, and people will naturally receive you for those who are ready to receive you. Some people are having a hard time even receiving rejection, because everyone's not going to always receive you, and that is okay. We're not here for everyone, but always show your kindness. And when someone mistreats you, learn how to take what you have left and just walk away, and don't react, because reacting is what gets us in trouble, and that's what gets us to where you're accepting someone else's karma that was meant for them, and you're accepting it for self. And so what was meant for them going to actually happen to you, and it wasn't meant for you. So walk away. Let your silence be necessary. That's the STFU. That's the nice way of saying let your silence be necessary, and just walk away. Doesn't make you chicken. It makes you the better person, because let them receive their karma. Do not interrupt their karma. Just walk away. Just walk away. That's your best bet.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, sis, this
That's
has
all.
been awesome and amazing.
Yes. I love building with
I
you.
Oh yeah, always, always. And I know we're gonna be doing some other things together, so I'm excited
Yes.
about that. And we'll have to do a show on that when we at another day,
Yes.
at another
We
day.
do.
I'm gonna be a guest on Thursday night. I will be Thursday night. I will be on. No, I'm sorry, Wednesday. That's tomorrow.
That's
I think
tomorrow.
tomorrow. I didn't know where I'm going to be. I think tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be on Unscramble Minds. Yeah, they're on.
I will be watching it. I'll be watching you.
Unscramble Minds. I'll be hanging out with those sisters, and we'll be talking again about. We'll be doing a sacred plant. We'll be talking about, yeah, sacred plants, and how the how we need to return to that.
Hmm.
And so I'm hopefully you will tune in. And these sisters,
Absolutely.
yeah, they I think they're part of. Well, they actually have had Todd on Grand Sheik on for like, and Rod for like 4 hours. They do like their
Really?
stuff is 4 or 5 hours. I will not be on for 4 or 5 hours. I won't.
I need a
We'd
snack.
be,
I need a
we'd be
meal.
good if we'd be good if we do two tomorrow, but we
Yeah.
definitely not going no. They might still continue to talk, and I'll be then signed off. So, but that I'm looking forward to it. So that's tomorrow night. Um,
I'll be watching.
unscramble minds on YouTube. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So listen, I'll know give you some last parting words if you want to share with the folks
Yes.
here.
My last parting words is for you, Dr. G. I love you. I love you so much. I just want to let you know that I honor you, because you are a great example for how I want to be, even as I continue my journey on this, knowledge of self. And I love watching you grow. I love learning from you. It is an absolute honor to be a part and to grow with you, to build with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a mother figure. Thank you for being my sister figure. Thank you for being just everything a matriarch is supposed to be. Thank you for being love, because you are the epitome of love, and I love you for it. I love being in your presence. I love you. And I'm telling you, anyone who gets to know you will love you just as much as I do. And I'm honored. Anytime I even see you, talk to you, or just in your realm, I am honored to be in your presence, because again, you are the epitome of love. So thank you for having me. Thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you for bringing the love, everybody, because this is love, y'all. This is love.
Oh,
So I
thank you,
appreciate
Sister
it.
Light. Thank you so much. And again, like I said, I appreciate your coming on, and I always appreciate your candor and your ability to just talk on any subjects. And y'all, look, share this. Wasn't as many on here that I think should have been on here, but there's always the replay,
Always
and
the replay.
it's the replay, it's the remix. So share it. Um, Thank you. Thank you. I am ready to receive. All right. Awesome. 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 So listen, y'all. Um, great things are happening. Great things are happening. And so just be open to receive it. Yeah, just have to be open to receive those great things. And I'm one of those people, Sister Chung, I'm always bringing stuff to people. So they were like, what Dr. G doing now? But
Mhm.
I'm always about going higher. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Always about going higher. So, and it's not that I left the other thing that I brought. I'm like, I'm adding to it. I'm like, we got this and
Yes.
we got this and that and that. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's
Exactly.
supposed to be.
I love
So
you for
I
it.
appreciate. Yeah. Thank you so much. Until next time, y'all. Listen, come out and go get your ticket. Go to House of Reawakening Minds.com. Get your ticket. If you were part of the team that helped to do the remodeling, reach out to me for a special. Yeah, and I know who you are, so don't say you were if you weren't, because I know who you are. But please make sure you reach out to me because we definitely want to see you on the 26th and through the 28th. I think that's it. So I mean,
Peace and
you
love,
still got
family.
it's like early on your side of the world. 7:06, right?
Yeah. 706 over here.
All right. So well, in East Coast, it's a little later. It's 3 hours later. But I think this has been an excellent build. And until next
I
time.
love it.
Until the next time,
Till
sis.
next time.
Yes, yes. All
Peace and
right.
love.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me.